Along with all the gear that I have, I want to mention camouflage. Trying to pick camouflage is going to blend well with the surroundings that you're in. This Canati pattern of true timber is absolutely one of my favorites. When you look at this background and you see how well these colors mesh, any place that you've got deciduous trees, you look at the eastern half of the country, I'll tell you what, this is the ticket. Now as spring comes on, things leaf out, I try to match that camo to the kind of habitat and the kind of cover that I'm in. True timber has a number of different patterns, certainly some that are more green. In fact, you can see that green color on this vest. This is actually a spring vest that I've got on. Now looking inside the vest, I've always got a variety of calls. For example, this morning, I used an aluminum call. I like to challenge, perk, cluck, and yelp on that call. In addition to that, I've always got a slate, and I carry that back in my second pocket. Turkeys, like people, all have their own unique voices, and that's one of the reasons that I will take different calls. One may have a higher pitch than another. One I can purr better on than I can the other. One I can yelp better. This one I can key better on. And so I've always got an aluminum and a slate. Some people prefer glass and slate. You know, it's really a matter of choice, and believe me, on any given day, a turkey can respond to a turkey call in a different way. One day it may work well, another day maybe not so well. And again, that's why I carry a variety of calls. When I look at wanting to have a peg to make that slate or that glass work, I know where all my pegs are. They're over in this other pocket. And every one of these pegs is a different shape, it's a different material, and it will work in a different way in the way it sounds. And I'm not going to do any calling demonstrations now, but I always have 3 to 5 pegs with me. Every one will work differently on the slate and on the aluminum. Try to get yourself comfortable. One you'll find that is the material, the weight of the peg itself, and just dense materials are my favorites, and I always carry a variety of them. Then I look inside my vest. What do I have in here? Well, this morning, when the crows hollered, the turkeys gobbled. And I've always got my crow call on a lanyard. You know, I hate to have to dig in the bottom of a pocket to find a call. And so I want to have easy access to that call. Just like my slates, I can reach in the dark, find them right where they're at. So I've got that pro call. It works well in fall, winter, and spring. Also in there, I keep my net, I keep extra gloves, and have just a variety of things. I always have an extra head net. Seemingly, somebody's going to forget one, or maybe I'll lose one. So I've always got a backup with me. Then on the inside of this vest, I've got a variety of things. Pens to fill out my tag. Sean wondered what his turkey weighed this morning. I lifted up, I said he's 19 pounds. We verified it with a scale. It's a very lightweight scale, and I love having that with me so that we have the actual weight, not the woods weight. These guys say, man, I just killed a 30-pound turkey. Well, maybe if you're in Iowa or North Missouri, but this tells the truth. So I always carry that along. It's not essential, but it's one of those fun items. In addition to that, I've always got a knife. Sometimes you have to notch your tag, use it for a variety of reasons. Another thing, like here in the state of Kansas, the tag is such that it doesn't have an adhesive on it when you wrap it around the turkey's leg. So I've always got zip ties with me. I always just put a wad of them in there because I know there's going to be states that I'm going to hunt where those zip ties are going to be really, really critical. Then I look down in some of my other pockets. I've always got some chapstick. I've got things like tape. Sometimes if you're traveling and you've got a long distance to go, I put this tape on the tag just to absolutely ensure that I don't lose it. I've also got just a little Leatherman. Sometimes you're finding that you've got to adjust something on a call. I may want to trim a piece of rubber on my tube call, so I've always got that with me so I can work on that item in the field. Another thing that I carry with me, and again, this is just to be a truth deal, is that, well, how long do you think that beard is? You know, a lot of times you can take a dollar bill and figure it out, but I always have a tape measure with me so I can measure what that beard length happens to be, or that spur length as well. Again, those aren't essential, but they're things I like to carry. I like to be prepared. I look on the other side. Attached to my vest, many times, if I think I'm going to have a long wait, I will also have this piece of equipment that will keep that shotgun from sliding off my knee. You know, many times when you've got a long wait, you wonder, gosh, how am I going to keep that gun up there? And this just helps so it doesn't slide off. Then when I look on my outer pockets, I carry 2 box calls. Every one has a different sound. I keep that short box in the front pocket. Then I've got my long box in its holster on the back. You can hear how the voices are different. Turkeys all have their own unique voices, and I'm going to make sure they're going to hear a variety of voices if that's what it's going to take to call them in. Also, on this outside pocket, I've got things like my tube calls. Make a simple pill bottle call. In fact, I won my very first calling at the Pennsylvania State Championship with that tube call right there. Sometimes I'll put an amplifier on there just to give it a little different sound. That's just a homemade piece. It's an old Brute cologne bottle. I just have it that it snaps on. You can make it certainly an important part of winter hunting to me. Carry some ammo, extra ammo with me. And I've got extra rubber. I always bring surgical gloves in case I've got a blowout on my tube call. I can instantly put it back into operation. Another thing that I found very helpful in locating turkeys, especially out in the west, is a coyote call. Really, I've had a lot of luck when turkeys are silent to cut loose with this, especially on Rios and Miriams. And man, you can get them to gobble back. It's a shock gobble. It's not a gobble that's a mating gobble, but at least you can pinpoint them. Springtime, it is deadly for sure. Then I look at my inside pockets. A variety of locator calls, everything from the coyote call, the crow call, owl with my own voice, but also a wood duck call. Another tool that is absolutely essential, goes with me everywhere, and that's a ratchet cutters. How many times I've had to trim vines. Yesterday we were cutting briars, little limbs out of the way so I could have a shooting lane, or to cut them out of the way so I could actually sit down. Good clippers, absolutely essential. Sometimes when the ground is really frozen deep, solid deep, and I want to get the decoy stakes down through, I've got an auger that I bring along to get that thing started. I almost pulled it out this morning. We had ice, we had frozen ground about an inch deep, and I had some trouble, but I finally worked it in and got it to go. Additionally, my homemade carrier. Once you kill that turkey, wrap that around the turkey's legs, over the shoulder, and just makes the trip back to the truck a lot more enjoyable. Also on my inside pockets, an essential part of keeping my box call clean is having my chalk, so I can chalk the box. Both boxes, of course, go with a dustless chalk. You don't want a grease chalk, and I keep it in this container, and that keeps it pretty well intact without getting dust everywhere else. And that's about it. I've always got some Decoys Montana fold-ups in the back of my vest, which they are still sitting out on the edge of the bean field right now, but carry those with me. I always carry two, and there's always situations where they come into play. Anyway, that's just a few tips on some of the gear that I have. Always try to be camouflaged from head to toe, and that means whether you've got an undershirt showing, try to stay away from the turkey target colors of red, blue, white, and black. Turkey hunting is a safe sport. There were years ago, I was part of creating the Turkey Hunter Safety Task Force, and one of the important elements that we found were that complete camouflage was far better than just partial camouflage. So when you go to the turkey woods, make sure you're covered head to toe. Sometimes I'll even wear 3D camo, especially when I'm filming. I think I can get away with maybe a little bit more movement since you have to move camera angles and switch buttons on and off. That is something I usually have as well. A 3D camo jacket, extra large, that I can put over top. Anyway, that'll get you started, and it'll certainly take you a long way out in the turkey woods. Spring, winter, fall, all those seasons, it's all right here.
Perfect.